You know, I get accused of a lot of things. I get called a lot of things. Chief among those things, flip-flopper, because apparently the fact that I've played all these consoles almost the entire generation and the fact that I'm playing a little bit more PS4 now makes me a flip-flopper. Well, the interesting thing is that Sony has come out and said all the things that are almost the exact opposite of what Microsoft is saying. And chief among them, this announcement, which really gets me excited about the next PlayStation. I would love for Microsoft to say something like this, but they're too nice to, and I think they're counting too much on these type of games, so they would never actually come out and go, hey, we're not really counting on these or whatever. But I got to give props to Sony. They're a little bit cocky, but I feel like I can really dig that. You know what I mean? I think that it's pretty cool that they're out there doing this and saying these type of things and sort of just kind of blowing me away with how amazing that they've been lately. So I think that that's pretty incredible. So if you guys are just joining me, man, I'm Crapgamer and this is Crapgamer Reviews. Like, share, subscribe if you like the content. I do a lot of it. I do some podcasts. I kind of keep it funky. I kind of keep it entertaining, and hopefully you guys have a good time here. If you really like the stuff, please hit the bell so you're notified of everything, because that's very important. So one of the great things that Sony came out and announced, they did this big interview, and I think the biggest thing that they said that really sort of struck me was what they plan on doing. They want to grow and continue to engage with AAA exclusive games, and that's a big difference compared to what Phil Spencer is saying. So obviously PlayStation 5 Scarlet going to announce 2020. Sony is very aware of stuff like Google Stadia, but they don't view them as a threat. They don't view Nintendo as a threat. Their only threat is Xbox, and that is a good thing if you're an Xbox fan too, because that threat is probably the only thing keeping your exclusives off of PlayStation natively. So Sony, they said they're going to be looking to work closely with big publishers, and a spokesperson said that while Sony will still welcome smaller independent studios with the PS5, the company believes that big budget titles are the games that people buy consoles for, and as such, that's where Sony will concentrate its efforts. The line of thinking also applies to Sony's own exclusive projects, will also be a focal point on the PlayStation 5. So what they're saying there is, despite the fact that early on Sony had like the Sony Hearts Indies and We Love Indies shirts, and they showcased so many indies early on, that was a means to an end. Basically, Sony trying to, were using indies because they lacked anything else, and then when they got on their feet, they kind of tossed the indies to the curb, which I can understand. Now, Microsoft, they're the opposite, right? They kind of didn't have the indies. There was the parity clause and all this kind of stuff. Now, they're using the indies because they don't have a lot else. They're doing indies release first on Game Pass and all this kind of stuff. And it's goodwill, but the problem is, I'm sensing when I go and look at indie games or whatever, that it's almost like an Atari situation where there was a game crash, right? So many games just flooding the market, and most of them aren't good. There are a handful of good indies, but for the most part, they aren't very good. Sony further actually went to talk into how they want PlayStation games PlayStation 5 games to be blockbusters, and according to this, that left indie developers and small publishers feeling like outsiders. Speaking anonymously with an author, one executive claimed that it's not a problem because the platform is quote-unquote too large to ignore. So there's obviously some arrogance in the statement, but it's true, right? Like, why does Sony get the exclusives from third parties like they do? It's because PlayStation has the largest install base, and they'll continue to do that. So listen, people are going to go to Sony. They're going to put their games on PlayStation, and that's just all there is going to be to it. Sony's going to continue to do well because Microsoft keeps shooting themselves in the foot. And Microsoft seems to really make a lot of dumb decisions when it comes to Xbox. So at the end of the day, very interesting. I will link these articles and let you check them out. Tell me what you think. Sound off, rate, comment, subscribe. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. Crapgamer out.